Yeah, sorry. So we will wait for a couple of more minutes for some more attendees to join, and we will begin. I am just putting a banner here for all of you to know that yes, you are at the right place and the right address, and we will start in some time. So I think we'll begin in some more time. I'm just taking a little bit more time because this is the first time that we're doing a webinar, which is more focused on global investors. Um, this is our first attempt to do this. We've kept the timings also in such a way that it would be easier for people from Southeast Asia to join us, to for people from other parts of the world to join us in a better time zone. I mean, in a better time frame. Yeah, and I think a lot of you have heard about us. You do know a little bit about what we do as we founder circle. I would be giving you all an introduction of who we are, who am I, why are we doing what we are doing, and what is the new initiative that we have launched. So we need a couple of more minutes for other people to join here, and I think we'll begin in 1 or 2 more minutes. The format, I'll just inform all of you, would be the following: that we'll make a presentation about who we are, what is the new global fund that we're talking about, what does it mean to be part of this global investor membership, and if there are any questions from any of you, we would love to take those, and then we would be moving ahead with asking you what's your opinion, what do you think, how you want to engage with us, etc. So yeah, I think we are here for a couple of more minutes before we start. uh, yes. And right now, I think there's no speaking access to anyone. We will give that slowly to people. Um, I think I will give a little bit of introduction while we are waiting. Let me share my screen here. So yeah, I think a couple of you know about us. We are We Founder Circle. Um, we are so fairly new angel investment platform based out of India, but we are very global. Our roots are fairly global, I would say. I, for one, am one of the co-founders who has spent a lot of time outside of India. I have, in fact, seen the outside startup ecosystem develop. I've been part of, multiple communities where I've helped investors and startups connect. So have a very good outlook on what it is that foreign global investors look for, what are the challenges that a lot of startups face outside and inside of India. We have brought a lot of that learning to how we operate as We Founder Circle. We will, of course, I will throw a lot more light on what we have done so far in the last 3.5 years that we have been operational. um, we I think one of the key achievements, or even our USPs overall, of operating in India has been that we've been able to get a lot of new investors into the startup ecosystem of India. And these investors have been uh, inside and both outside of India, right? Like, I mean, these are not just people who were always in India. We've always worked with people across the globe. Um, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of our investors have stayed with us, or why our community keeps growing, is the reason that we're very friendly to new investors, investors who want to understand what investing and angel investing, to be particular, is all about. How can we help them in taking those baby steps as they start their journey as investors? Um, I think we did a good job, and hence, we are at a stage where we are not just one of the largest communities of investors in India, but also reaching the same globally. I would just ask my team. So that, do you think we're good to start right now?
Yeah, I think we can start with the pool and the basics.
Okay. So just to make this webinar a little interesting, it was an idea from our team that we should try to understand who is joining us today. And there's a very interesting poll that we have made for understanding who is joining us today and how can we probably help them. So I think, Siddharth, can you launch the first poll? So yeah, I would request people who are here with us to talk about a little bit of their investment history. Like, we are very curious to know, have you all invested before in a startup? What's your history like? And if you have not, or if you're just starting, where exactly do you stand? It will give us some idea about, whenever we talk to you one-on-one, a little bit idea about, how we talk to you, how we sort of understand your own perspective on investing, etc. I see a lot of you have invested. In fact, there's very few of you who are saying that you're still exploring, but it's a great thing that you're still exploring. Maybe we can help you there. um, Whoever hasn't polled can still poll and let us know where they stand. So I see none of you are really novices in investments. I think you guys have invested before. That's great. um, so whether you have invested or not invested, this is just a way of knowing, uh, where we could help you, and you'll know why I'm asking this as we go through rest of the slides. That's a good number. That's very interesting to know that people here have in fact invested before. That's great. That's great. If there's anyone who's left to poll, they should poll before we close this. This is just for us to have an idea about where you are. Nothing more than that. Okay. We have one more poll before we actually start the presentation. I think so that maybe we can stop this one and have the next one as well. Yeah, I think if we can have the next poll, I think that would sort of complete our question and answer, at least the intro part of our webinar.
Just a second.
Okay. It's good we have a fairly good audience with grasp of investing. Yeah, so I will just tell you about the format also. If in any case any of the attendees have any questions, there's a Q&A tab. So once I am presenting or in between the presentation, after the presentation, you all can leave your questions there and I'll be happy to take them once I have finished the presentation, or even maybe in between the presentation. It's more for my reference that I can see who's posting questions and what kind of questions are those. Have I covered them in my presentation or not? And please, yeah, this is the second question that we have for you, which is, have you done any cross-border investments, which means that wherever you're based, have you invested from that place to any place outside of your home country? That is interesting for our webinar's topic today, because that is precisely what we're going to cover. So just to get that idea, where you stand in terms of cross-border investments, it would let us know, a little bit more about the history of investments that you've made. And I see that majority of you have not invested outside your home countries. That is good to know. That is great to know. In fact, it's very good for us to start this webinar with that knowledge. So while you guys are polling, I will start with the introduction of WeFounder Circle. As I mentioned that we started off as an angel network. I'll just change my slide for you all. 1 second. Yes. What is WeFounder Circle? WeFounder Circle is essentially an angel network, but today we are much more than that. We started off as an angel network, in fact. An angel network, I'm sure you all know what it is. We are a group of angels who are very passionate about helping early stage startups, and hence we want to invest in them. Plus, we want to provide them value beyond capital. We've done that very successfully over the last 3.5 years that we have been in the ecosystem, and I'll tell you how we've done that. I think from day one, we were very focused on bringing new crop of investors to the ecosystem who didn't just have money, they also wanted to work with these startups very actively. So we termed them like, of course, active investors. So not just people who put money and then, they come back after 3 years and ask the founders, okay, what have you done for us, right? We want investors who are actively involved with these startups. That means that, they attend the review calls, they take active participation. They actively want to know where the startup is struggling and if they can do anything to help them. We started off with a webinar such as this one that I'm doing today. And since then, we have been able to build a community of 13,000 investors across the globe. While I mentioned that, yes, we did have global roots from day one, but our intention at that point of time when we began was a little bit India focused because we were in 2020. India was looking at a startup boom where a lot of money was coming from outside of India. Inside of India, people were opening their pockets to, fund startups. Exciting times, and hence we were, very, very lucky, and I would say we did great job at, hunting good startups and good investors to the ecosystem. We funded around 45 companies in the first year, approximately 60 odd companies the next year, 80 odd companies the year next, and we're trying to reach a bigger number after now this year. Over the last 3.5 years, we've done not just angel investing. Our progression has been that we have started from funding companies at very early stage, and we've moved to doing their up rounds, like their next rounds. We've in fact even invested in companies at advanced stages like a Series A, Series B. So today, where we stand, we are pretty much multi-sector and multi-stage. Now, what are you looking at your screen? So at one side, you see community. Community has always been our stronghold. We have people from across the globe who want to work with us, who want to invest in India. But like I said, initially and until very recently, we were very focused on grooming the Indian ecosystem. And now, of course, through this webinar, we're trying to move in the direction of grooming the global ecosystem as well. The part that you see in the middle, it's about the funds. This is very interesting because it really enables our capability of funding startups at every level. EvolveX is our early stage accelerator program through which we fund companies that are very, very early, sometimes pre-revenue, sometimes pre-product. And we try to be the first institutional check in these companies. We have a platform called Invest. Again, very relevant for our global community because through that, we have attempted to connect all our angels on the same platform. We have Avinya Ventures, which is our recently launched VC fund. Again, very relevant for giving up rounds in our companies and giving bigger checks to companies. So we've come a long way since we started off as an angel network doing small checks in very early stage companies. The latest offering, of course, that I'll talk about a little bit more in detail is the WFC Global Angels Fund. This is a fund that we've started particularly looking at the appetite of global investors who want to invest in India, and a lot of Indian investors who are very, very keen to put money in companies outside of India. And yes, a very strong, in fact, I think part of our offering is the tech part, the platform that we have created. Till now in the ecosystem, no one has taken advantage of the platform, platform where community and different instruments of investments can be utilized together. So this is what we're trying to create. This is what we've done so far, and I'll talk a little bit more about our portfolio and our numbers in the upcoming slides. And mind you, people, I mean, anyone who wants to who has any questions, please keep asking them in the Q&A box, and I will take all of them towards the end of my presentation. These are just some numbers for all of you, just to refer to what when I talk about the number of companies, the network, investments, etc. This is what it is. It's a snapshot for you all. Our portfolio stands at 150 startups, 15 sectors. We have a network of 13K investors across 62 countries, investments 35 million plus raised, and we have 4 funds today. And these are all regulated by government bodies. So yeah, we are here after almost 4 years, and it's been an incredible journey. This is again a snapshot of our top performing startups. We have with us Zip, Blue Smart, Open, Kazam, and you can look at all the sectors. Like, we clearly have a very soft spot for clean tech, deep tech, gaming. These are the companies that we've invested in very, very early on, and they are at good valuation multiplier after 3 years. And this is, I think, just a snapshot, like I said, I mean, out of the 150 that we've invested in. Yeah, this is again just for reference. You can go for a proper look at our portfolio at our website. Yeah, and this is the summary of what I was just talking about in a basic introduction of who we are and what we are doing. We found a circle. We're trying to create a 360-degree ecosystem for anyone who wants to invest in India and now outside of India. We have every kind of instrument that is needed to invest multi-stage inside India and outside of India. Our community also stands in a similar way across different countries. In fact, I think the last country that we have added is Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is the last country from where we've gotten an investor. And again, these are all organic investors. Like, we are not, so far, all the people that we've reached to have been part of our, of course, branding that we have done. I think the founders who are, sort of building this. I mean, this appeal towards Indian ecosystem, while we always wanted to go global, we were not actively looking at, engaging with a foreign community or a global community till very recently. So what are we trying to do? So this number is very important. 13,000 global investors. That's the important number for people who are here. This is what we are trying to actually capitalize on, and this is what we are trying to aim our offering of Global Angel Fund towards. This is just, whatever has been written about us across different media articles, talking about how active we have been in early stage investments. I think since we began, we have invested very, very aggressively in the Indian ecosystem. The numbers that we have achieved is very unlike for a network this young to achieve the numbers that we did. And this is just some snapshot of the articles. Yeah, and now coming to the Global Angels Fund. So what exactly is that? I'm sure that some of you might be aware that while India has a lot of domestic regulated funds, there is in fact an instrument through which now a lot of Indians can invest outside of India. In fact, a lot of global investors can invest in India. So here we are talking about the global fund that we have taken a license of. It's under, IFSCA. It's called the Gift City Fund that we are operating right now. We are, in fact, the only network in India, angel network in India, to have license to that fund. What it enables us to do is what I exactly said, that we can now invest in global startups from India. It's very, very easy for Indians outside of India to invest in startups. Here, if they don't have any Indian ID, it will be very easy for them to invest here. And of course, there are global investors who can invest in global startups, right? I'm sure a lot of you who said that they have invested before in different geographies, they would relate to the problem of having very limited options through which you could invest. We also face similar problems. When I told you about the portfolio that we have done so far, we have in fact invested, I would say 1% probably of our entire portfolio has been dedicated to investing in companies outside of India. We invested in US-based companies. We invested in Dubai-based companies, Singapore-based companies. And with every single time, we did it as an experiment just to see how difficult or easy it was for us to invest. If we wanted to, let's say, support some companies that we think could be good alignment for maybe Indian ecosystem, we were like, okay, let us try, let us see how easy or difficult it could be for us to invest in them. And it was not easy. It was not the easiest to get all the legal and the paperwork done. It was we had to give a very heavy upfront fee to platforms in order to enable or to use their platforms for investing outside of India. So this actually brought us to the realization that maybe it is time for us as well to think of a way in which we could enable our own global community and of course ourselves as well to invest outside of India, but in a smoother way. Why not own that instrument that could also help us in investing outside of India with maybe better ease, saving me time and cost and money, etc. And hence we became the first network to actually apply and get the license for a Gift City Fund, which is I think I should probably introduce it here. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. So sorry. So Gift City is actually a special economic zone in India. This is a special instrument that has been introduced by Government of India to facilitate foreign transactions. It has been there for a while. However, it has got traction, especially in the venture capital world in the last 1.5 years, where there has been a lot of organic traction from across the globe and money has been flying in and going out. A lot of retail investors that are sort of part of a big part of a community have shown interest in investing, not just in India, but let's say even Indian founders who are sitting outside of India. Some US-based companies or UK-based companies who, they want to support. I have seen a lot of our investors sitting in tier 2, tier 3 towns where they've shown interest in investing in let's say crypto companies, right, outside of India. So I think a lot of what we are trying to do through the Global Angel Fund is sort of culmination of small trends that we have seen over time with our investors. We have seen that in India at early stages now, it's not just global funds that are putting money. We have also seen a lot of Indian retail investors, family offices putting in money. The appetite of retail investors in India has increased a lot. Hence, why these demands also come to us as an angel network that, we are interested in supporting, let's say, the Indian diaspora, probably outside of India. We want to, look at Saudi also. We want to look at Dubai. We want to look at different parts of the world, and we want to understand how we can put money there. So the fund license that we have is actually a very good option for people who want to invest very aggressively outside of India, or any investor who is outside of India, but they're looking at the Indian market with a keen interest, and that could be like for many, many reasons. But yeah, this here is a snapshot of how a Gift City fund operates, and this is how our fund also operates. For non-resident investors, like there's no requirement of a PAN. They are exempted from filing an ITR in India. Income from offshore portfolio entities, and it's not taxable. No GST on management fee. So I mean, the cost structure is very different as opposed to if you would go through a domestic fund. For investors who are in India, they can invest in offshore opportunities through LRS, and again, no GST on management fee. So this is a good new instrument, slightly more convenient than, let's say, if you want to just invest through a domestic fund. And this is what is very, very important for us, and why we're bringing this to our global investors. So just I'm here giving you a snapshot of the convenience part, right? Through our angel fund, our goal is to save time for our investors because of already this big infrastructure that we've created for our investors, which includes a platform. We already have teams that are doing onboarding of investors. We have teams that are doing the paperwork. So we have built an entire system that would facilitate global investments really well. Of course, it does save a little bit of time when you can, save on your taxes as well. Again, it's a regulated fund. So rest assured, there are guidelines of, how the money would be remitted. There are guidelines about proper management of funds. So that again is a convenience. Then, of course, around the ease of exit, right? There are again guidelines around, what would be the procedure during the fund transfer at the point of exit. And again, I mean, it just removes a lot of red tape and helps during the distribution of profits into the foreign account. So this is broadly the convenience that comes with using a global angel fund. And this is just a summary of what I spoke about. Basically, you can easily do cross-border investments, which was something that people would hesitate earlier about, but they would be able to do it much better with our fund. The KYC process would be easy. The tax benefits are there, right? But our fund and the idea of why we're doing this webinar is a lot more than just the benefits that come with a particular fund structure. We have actually built a community and an entire ecosystem here for investors and for startup founders. But so far, we were very, very focused on India. Now we want to bring this to a global audience. We want to build communities, and we want to actively leverage our position in India, where we look at least 3,000 to 4,000 startups every year, where we're funding around 100 startups every year. This is the point where we think that we can involve actively with the global community that we have developed a bit organically, I would say. In the last 3.5 years, we've been dabbling with it. We have done some experiments of, doing events in Dubai, doing events in Singapore, actively communicating with startups and founders in UK, in US, in Mauritius, in Vietnam, in Laos. And I mean, we have been getting constant feedback that people want to get involved. I think now with our Gift City fund also set up, and we have done some test transactions as well, we are in a very good position to leverage our fund, and hence, build a membership model around bringing people together and actively engaging them with us at a global level. So yeah, I was actually, in fact, talking about some of the test transactions that we did just to see how we can run the fund. So far we've done 12 deals on the fund, and a couple of them are listed here: Pixel, Peersite, Pandorum, Qpie. Um, and we've been able to raise around 13 million in those deals through our fund. So that again is a great sign for us. So I think all the work that we have done so far, and along with all the international portfolio that we've been able to build so far, I think now we are at a time where we are actively looking to engage with investors who are outside of India, and they want to look at India as a big opportunity in the next 5 to 10 years. And maybe they want to learn about the Indian ecosystem. Maybe they want an Indian partner, right? Someone with whom they can work and explore the different opportunities here. And that is what we are trying to build. 1 second. Yeah. So this is the membership, or this is at least the broad idea of what we're trying to do here today. Again, I would give a disclaimer that this is something that we are working on as we talk to you, because we want your feedback. We want to know how you want to engage with us. And this is the best that we could think of from all the feedback we've gotten so far from our test runs, from talking to the angel investors we have worked with so far globally, and what we believe, what we can really provide you if you want to become part of our exclusive global investors member group is we can provide you with a curated deal flow that is very India focused. That if you're interested in putting in, let's say, the top um, exclusive deals from our side from India, we can provide you that. If you are an Indian investor who's looking at investing outside of India, we get continuous deal flow from different geographies. We could curate that and bring those to you. Of course, access to our global fund is just one part of the whole membership club that we're trying to build here. You can also engage with other global investors in different geographies. Um, we would give you access to our investment managers who would help you through your first few steps into the world of investing, and of course through baby steps of how to invest globally as well. Yeah, and this is what we're thinking of doing, and again, this is something that we want all of you to share your feedback with us. Happy to know if you have encountered any issues while making international cross-border investments. This is something that we are very excited about. We are very, very uh, optimistic of the fact that, so far we have seen a lot of global interest in India, and this is our own attempt to, consolidate and build something concrete to bring that interest in India. And yes, to bring the interest that a lot of Indians have outside of India to build something of it, or work actively on that interest. So this is what we're trying to do. And please keep sharing your questions. I will start taking some of them. The team is very important here. So I am Bhavna. I told you that I do have my roots in the global ecosystem. I was in China before I started the Founder Circle. I was there part of early tech companies like Cheetah Mobile and ByteDance in Beijing. I spent like good 6 years there, learned Mandarin. I was a scholar, in fact, learning advanced Mandarin there. I decided to stay back and, do jobs there. It was an interesting experience to build for India and see India grow, the ecosystem in India grow from outside of India. I used to also run a community called Startup Grind. There, I was doing regular events to engage the local and global entrepreneur and investor community, and understanding where they need help, or how can we bring more entrepreneurs in on center stage. How can we help them? How can we connect them to good investors? So that was pretty much day in and day out for me. And that's how I met Neeraj, one of my co-founders in the founder circle, and rest of the team here. Neeraj, of course, has been part of the ecosystem way longer than I have. He has been working very actively at early stage for early stage companies. He has, of course, invested in a lot of companies here. Gaurav has also been working very actively in the early stage ecosystem of India. He's raised money for multiple funds and now for our fund. Vikas has been a corporate leader. He's worked and grown and seen a company from early stage to an IPO stage. And Saurabh has also worked across the globe in corporates, and he has great experience in working with people from diverse walks of life. So yeah, this is the team that is behind the Global Angels Fund, and we are trying to build a very active community of investors outside of India and help people, do cross-border transactions or cross-border investments. Um, just some screenshots, snapshots I have of multiple events that we have been doing. So, since we are a very community-focused organization, one of the things that we've done really well is the ground activation of investor ecosystem. We've gone to around 50 cities in India, tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four cities, where we've gone and introduced angel investing to all the investors there. We have brought investments from those cities to other cities. So we have a history of, going to different places and bringing a new crop of investors to work with us. And of course, taking great opportunities to them so that they can understand how they can participate in the growth story of India. And of course, like not just investors in India, outside of India as well. I think you can see a couple of these pictures are actually not just from India; they're from Dubai. This one in middle. Yeah, and a couple of events that we did. Like last year, we were sponsors in of Tycon and like TGS and at Singapore, and we were there at the Singapore FinTech Fest. These are the pictures from there. We have also been at TGS Dubai. So yeah, we've I think done three events in Dubai so far. I think I'm saying a lesser number, like proper events, I would say three, but I think we've been going to Dubai quite a lot and Singapore quite a lot to talk to the local ecosystem there and understand what are their needs, how are they looking at India, how can, we help them in getting access to better deals in India, or access to, let's say, a good startup ecosystem in India. Yeah, a couple of more pictures of same events. More pictures from Dubai, Singapore. Before I go to Q&A, I think I hope that I've made the point around, why we're doing this clear. I think the global ecosystem has been coming to us organically, and I mean, I wouldn't say we've ignored. I think we would say that we were so focused on building the India infra and the India ecosystem from ground up that we delayed our involvement with the global ecosystem. And I think now through our, global community memberships, we want to bring more and more people close to us and work with them in developing, international startup ecosystem together with them. This is something that we've done in India before, and I think we can do that at global scale as well. So with that, I would be pretty open to some questions. I hope some of you do have those. So yeah, I'm happy to take a couple of them. There's a question from Nayan who says, "Can I invest into a fund in India from this structure?" Yes, you can. Nayan. I hope I can. Yeah, you can invest. Let me actually give you speaking access here. So that can we give speaking access to Nayan for this question?
Hello.
Hi, Nayan. Hi. I know it
Hi.
was I treated your question as a yes or no question, so so I just said yes, you can. But yeah, I'm sure there's more context to what you were asking, so happy
Yeah,
to
I just
understand.
wanted to understand. So, if I wanted to, as an investor from UK, invest into any of the other Indian SEBI-regulated category 1, 2 funds, then can I do that through you? So, for example, let's say if there was a category A fund, a deep tech fund in India, and I wanted to invest into that, or if I wanted to invest into another angel co-fund, can I do that through your this
Yeah.
particular platform?
So lately, what we've done is that we've gotten a feeder fund. So that feeder fund's purpose is exactly the use case that you're saying. So you can, in fact, invest in other funds through that. In fact, some funds who are raising from LPs outside of India are using our feeder fund for that same purpose so that they can get access to people like you or similar people who are sitting outside of India and route the money through our feeder fund.
Okay, excellent. Because I was trying to invest into one of the funds in India, and obviously, the documentation is
Mm.
immense. So then, if I went through your platform, would that mean that I would avoid all that documentation and it would just be doing KYC on your platform once, and that's about it?
So yes, the KYC and onboarding would be much easier. I can't promise you in terms of the exact paperwork how more or less it would be, but yes, because when you go through a regulated structure, there is a very particular list of like documents that you have to give. I think the whole process would be much more optimized, I would say. It would be more, to the point. So it won't be any unnecessary paperwork, just the amount of paperwork that is needed as stipulated by the government, if that
Thank you.
answers your question. So Nayan, tell me a little bit more about yourself. You're from UK and you invested like in Indian startups or you're just beginning to invest?
Yeah, very active. I've invested
Very young.
in a lot of startups in India. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of your portfolio companies that you have listed, I'm a co-investor in many of
Ah,
them. But one of the challenges that I've always faced is, when I am bringing, so I basically lead a lot of transactions and I'm bringing a lot of co-investors along with me to invest from UK.
okay.
And one of the challenges I've faced is always, like you just mentioned, when we are looking to invest in India, there's a lot of KYC paperwork that is required. And if that problem can be solved by your platform, then that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think it would be solved to an extent. So we are uh, probably honestly, so when we started using our own fund, we were the first people in the market to do that. So for us also there was a learning curve. Like we were also trying to understand, okay, how much difference is there between, let's say, traditional, if you go the traditional route, if you go through the regulated route. Also in India, as you may be aware, a lot of regulations keep changing as well, right? Like there are new things that you have to submit every time, etc. But the convenience that you face as an investor if you go through our route is that a lot of the changes that you made, the changes that do come in the system, we have to deal with it. You as an investor, that's a service we provide to you, so you would always be receiving the convenience part there, right? If there are anything that needs to be done, I think most of the work would be done by us and less by you. I think that is an advantage here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nan. So we will connect later. I think I'll be doing a poll. Actually, I can launch the poll. So my colleague here, Siddharth, you said there's a issue with the poll, or can we launch the poll for interest?
No, we are good to go with the pool.
Okay, so you can launch the poll then. This is a poll for anyone who's interested in knowing about our global community of investors, and we can connect with all of you one-on-one later, while I, of course, will answer as many questions I can right now. So please do poll here so that after the webinar, we know that we can connect with you. You're okay and you're comfortable with us asking you a couple of questions, etc. So I think that would be great. So if it's a yes or a no, doesn't matter as long as you poll. We just need to know. Hans has a question. Siddharth, can we let Hans answer? I mean, ask the question if you can give him the speaking access. Hi, Hans. How are you doing? I can't hear you. Are you able to speak? Okay, let
Can you
let
hear?
me oh, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I was just interested in understanding what the opportunities or advantages you have for a European investor to invest in India, as opposed to, I'm somewhat familiar with some of the investment vehicles that European institutions offer to invest in stock and startups also in India. But as you probably also know, we're somewhat limited due to, I would say, a limited understanding of the Indian market from many traditional European investors. So I was wondering what you can offer on top of what traditional investors in Europe offer.
Okay, thanks, Hans, for that question. Before I answer, can I ask you a couple of questions for my own knowledge? Like,
Sure.
which country are you from?
Switzerland.
Oh, nice. We have a lot of Indian investors in Switzerland who actively invest with us. Um, okay, that's great. So I'll tell you a little bit about our own experience with European startups. Um, So for us, organically, just from the point of view of fundraising, we were very inclined to US, Singapore, UAE, just that the ecosystem is way more involved with the Indian ecosystem. Um, However, because we have a good base of investors in the UK and in different parts of Europe, in different countries of Europe, um, there's always been a lot of interest from investors there. Plus, we also get a lot of startups from these areas. Now, the problem that we face is similar to what you're asking. We were also not sure what instrument to use if I want to invest in, let's say, a company in Germany or a company in Switzerland or France. That was not very clear to us in the early days. Now, of course, I know that Global Fund could enable that, right? In terms of advantages, what do we offer over, what is provided by European investors? I So the most common instrument that we know about and we have used is AngelList, through which we have invested. I think the advantages, and not just to AngelList, any other equivalent platform, I would say, the advantage that we offer with respect to, let's say, the Indian ecosystem, at least, would be the quality of startups that we can give you access to. I think we can take you a little bit more in depth with our own understanding of the ecosystem and reach into the ecosystem. I think that is one. We can give you access to a larger pool of investors with whom you can invest together, because I know that a lot of angels who come to us from Europe, they usually invest in groups, and it's an interesting thing. It's always been like that for us. I don't know why, but they always invest in groups. So I sense that there is always this bias that they have with them, that they are not comfortable or they're too new to invest alone. So they're always looking for sounding boards. They're always looking for like 2 or 3 rounds of talks with the founder, like that access to the founder. They want more usually than Indian investors. So I think all of those things we can provide you in terms of information and access to opportunities. I guess that's my answer. In terms of instrument, honestly, it's just one that we have, that we are now everyone like you. Does that answer your question, Hans, or am I not giving you the answer that you need?
No, thank you very much. That was very much to the point that it's difficult as an individual European investor to get the confidence of any, say, wealth manager to really get the feeling that they have a deep understanding of the Indian market. I think that's still lacking with most traditional wealth management investors. So your answer is very much to that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. Yeah, Nayan, I saw you raised your hand. Do you want to ask a question? Oh, yes, Nayan, sorry, I gave you access to
Yes.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, just to follow on the question that Hans just asked. So I have a couple of questions. One was, do you provide more kind of reports or research on the Indian ecosystem, which will really help, foreign investors to understand a little bit more about, what's really happening in the Indian startup ecosystem? For example, let's say if I was very keen on investing into the space economy of India, do you kind of, have any insights that you can share with investors like us? So that was one of the questions. And then the second question I had was, I'm not sure if you have shared any details on in terms of, what is the minimum investment that we need to do? What are the commercials? How does it work in terms of, the fund, if you wanted to invest in the fund or via the fund? So if you could also please share that. Thank you.
So in terms of additional information, so I'll tell you the process that we usually follow. The basic process that we follow is that when a startup comes to us, we usually do our own internal due diligence before we would take them to the platform, and to any platform, like to Indian investors or global investors. And we provide those reports to whatever we have done to the investors that want to, let's say, invest with us. Along with that, there is an additional factor of, let's say, bringing the community together. So we do these pitch calls, and of course there are investment committee calls before, but pitch calls where any investor can come and ask any kind of question to these startup founders, right? That's very transparent. No one will stop you from asking anything that you want to ask, and any kind of detail. In case you don't get answers to some of the questions that you're asking, we can provide you those answers. In case you want to talk to the founder separately, one-on-one, or if you say that, Bhavna, I have a group of people who they're very interested in this space, and maybe we want to talk to the founder separately, besides this big pitch call that is happening, is that possible? I would say yes, it's possible. We've done that before, we'll do it now. Especially in some situations where the company is space tech or some other sector where there is interest of global money as well, because this is something that we do as a network, that we try to assess if a company can get money from outside of India or not, if there is a group of experts or VCs that we can connect them to outside of India. We do that very actively. So hence, to the question that you're asking, yes, if we have any extra reports that we get access to, like any industry reports, we would of course give you. That's part of the community sharing that we do anyway. But if you do want more access to the founder because you do have interest, like a serious interest in investing in that person, arranging separate calls or giving you more access than usual is something that we've done very, very commonly and regularly with our investors. On the question of commercials, for the membership, we're talking about the commercial. So this is like a work in progress, because we want to understand what is the investment appetite of the person. We are internally looking at dividing investors in different categories, because there are some investors who are not too keen to invest outside of India. Maybe they're just once or twice they want to invest, right? So they have different ways of doing it. Right now, for a membership, we are trying to be a little bit more exclusive to investors who are very keen to invest globally, right? So not just one-off people, but people who we know would actually are of course global themselves, and they do want to put money not just in India but outside in any other geography. So yeah, we are sort of, this is something that we are opening to discussion in terms of the minimum amount as stipulated by the regulations. If you are an accredited investor, you don't have to have a minimum investment when you invest through the Gift City Fund. But there is an amount of like $40,000 that is usually not at one go, but there's a contribution agreement that you have to sign, when you invest through such channels. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah. Is there anyone else who has a question? They can just raise their hands and I can give speaking access to them in case there's anything that needs clarity, anything that anyone wants to know about a usual process, or what kind of, investments are we planning to do through the Global Fund? What geographies are we targeting? I mean, I can always go give that information on my own, but if anyone does have any questions in particular to be asked, I think they can. Yeah, so I think maybe I'll just give the information on my own. So we do want to target US, UK, Singapore, Dubai, some of the other communities where we already have made some investments before, like we already have investors, like we have investors in France, Switzerland, we have investors in Netherlands, we have a big chunk of investors in those geographies. So we are definitely targeting those areas where our investors are already telling us, to be a bit more actively involved. Singapore, Dubai, these are the usual ones. Oh, sorry, I saw a question here. Ankur, you have a question for me?
Hi, it's not Ankur, it's his partner, Advocate Reema Jain here. Now, Bhavna, we have a few investors who are from a few offshore communities, say Dubai, Switzerland, and Israel, wherein we do annually meet as well at one of our events in Bangalore. Now, they wish to invest in startups here. How can we do that through the WFC Angel Fund, and how could the entire thing then move around?
Acha. So tell me a little bit more about yourself. So interestingly, you mentioned Israel because I know that Israel's government has been very active. Actually, I'm in Mumbai. I'm based out of Mumbai right now. In Mumbai, they're superbly active. Like they've been calling investors to their own events and introducing to startups and VCs in their ecosystem. So we've been working with them. But yeah, to your question, I would want a little bit of idea about what you do, and let's say, how do you know these group of offshore investors who want to put money in India?
Operate out of a law firm and a chartered accountant firm here in Delhi, and plus we are partners to a Switzerland-based entity who organizes an annual event in Bangalore every year. Our event is scheduled for 6th and 7th of June, where we have investors not just from India but from global landscape who come together, and once they gather interest, we introduce them to the startups here in India for the purpose of investment. So last time when they were here around June, the interest started gathering. So the 2 years have already been passed of that particular event. This is the 3rd edition this year, an invite-only event, so that's very exclusive as well. So there they gather interest, they try to understand what's happening in the Indian economy and how the Indian startups are actually evolving and much at a par with the global landscape. So that's where they have now taken the call that yes, we wish to invest. But again, when we talk about investments, yes, FDI, FEMA, RBI, fund movement, then you talk about different countries, everything does make a difference. So there they talk about how about we route it through an investment channel. And probably this was one thing that this is why this entire webinar today sounded of interest to me.
What's your name again? Because you're not Ankur, clearly.
Yes, I'm Rima Jain.
It's Rima. Okay, Rima. So I think just to help out your investors, to give them a basic understanding of angel investment, this is I'm just proposing it because this is something that we've done for so many groups and so many people who are interested in investments. We can do a basic webinar for them, explaining them the basics of angel investments, like we've done for our own investors who joined our community early on, and we can talk to them about what the entire ecosystem is all about, the basic groundwork we can lay out for them, and on top of it, like we can introduce them to a couple of our startups that are currently raising money. That is one way through which we let people sort of take some baby steps into coming into the ecosystem in general. Now for the offshore thing, we can of course talk about, again, because I don't know the background of your investors. I don't know if how much they want to invest. This is something that we discuss with each and every investor, because we realize that we work as a community, and sometimes we have investors who are, let's say, they're regular day job people and they have a different corpus as opposed to, let's say, people who have a much bigger corpus. So we try to understand the requirement, and then we can suggest them what is the best way for them to invest in. Since they're coming through you, I'm sure that you would have an opinion on that as well, right? So I would suggest we can connect offline once, and we can do some sort of an activity with your investors, maybe just to facilitate a first dialogue or their introduction into the ecosystem. I think that could be helpful, I believe.
And Bhavna, can angels from Dubai invest in India? Something like, is that, do we have a simpler route or an identified route already in place?
We can facilitate that. Yes, definitely. We have investors in Dubai, in fact, who invest with us. Yes. Thanks, Rima, for asking the question.
You're welcome.
I think we are sort of on time, but I will take this one question from an anonymous attendee. Are you providing sub-licenses of WFC Global Fund to emerging managers looking to lead deals? Yes, I think we're doing that. We have done that. If yes, what are the WFC commercials for this service? I will connect you to the team that leads this. If you would have asked, if you can just give me your name, or if you can maybe raise your hand, I'd be able to connect you to the right person in my team who can help you with those exact onboarding steps. Or if you've polled, we will definitely reach out to you and try to know how we can help you with opening your deals on a global fund, because that's something that we've been doing. That's one of the test cases that we have with us. So we've already done that, been there, done that, I would say, and we can definitely help you with that. And the commercials we'll share, like there's a different team who does that, and I'll be more than happy to connect you with them. Is there anyone else who has any questions that I can answer today? This is our first of this kind of webinar where we're trying to learn a lot about the global investors. If there's anything that I can answer, I'd be more than happy to answer those. Otherwise, I think we would keep doing these webinars. We have a lot of interesting formats coming up as we are beginning our own journey to build a global investor community. I would be happy to connect with any one of you who has any suggestions for us, or any information that you want from us regarding the membership, or regarding how we can help you start your investment journey in India. So I would say thank you all of you for your time today, and we would be connecting with you one-on-one, whoever has polled. And yeah, I think let us know if there are any questions for us. I'm pretty reachable, actually. Speaking of being reachable, I do have my email here in case any of you do want to reach out. Please feel free. And thanks for attending today, and have a great weekend. So thank you so much.